Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is another wild and wonderful day in Western Pennsylvania. It is real chilly today, and once again, I am your hostess with the mostest, Julie Vald, and I thank you and welcome you back again to another topic that we are going to talk about today that is a little bit wild, which is why I use that word. And I really think that you're going to like this topic. It's a little bit of a tough one, but we're going to deal with this together. And I all of the topics that I talk about on my channel. There's a lot that has to do with self help. How do you get through this? How do you deal with this? This topic is a little bit unique in the sense that, we have stress in our lives all the time. We all have our normal stress, whether it's work or it's home or whatever the case may be. We have our stress, but we have those momentary stressful situations that drop on us at the drop of a hat, and they set us over the moon, over the sun, over the stars that we have to deal with like now. I'm not talking about, weddings or, new babies or, things like that, which is stressful, which we can deal with time. I am talking about dealing with a drop at the moment, horrible, nasty situation that is just unbelievably unbearable. And the stress that comes down on you is like a ton of bricks. And we've all been there, we've all done that. And me being a buyer, I live it. Every day I live it. Because when you're a buyer in a manufacturing environment that deals with medical devices that help patients around the world, everything and every decision in your life, you don't have a good day. You don't have a normal day. Every day, there is always a drop dead moment where there is going to be that moment where someone says, this is priority. We got to do this now. How can we make this happen? We got to work on it now. We can't put this on the side. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with this? So I live it and I get it, but we all do, no matter what we do for a living, no matter what our lives are. And it's tough. There's nothing, we're very much creatures of habit, where we are in our routines. We do this in the morning, this in the afternoon, this at night, boom, 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 and there we are. But then we have these unmistakable crises that come into our lives that need to be dealt with now, that throw us off our game. And how do we deal with that? And from my perspective, I can tell you how I deal with it because it just happened to me the other day. And ultimately what happens is I have this critical situation. All of a sudden, it's immediate stress. And the first thing I do is get angry. I get angry, I get defensive, and I just start rambling. Why is this happening? Where was this at? Why now? I can't drop everything. Now I've got to deal with this. That is my natural reaction to this type of a situation. And we all have our different ways of dealing with it. But today, I want to deal with this fear of the unknown because we don't deal well with the unknown. That's not what's inbred in us. We want to have things be normal every day, but let's face it, life isn't normal. Life is really, really tough. And I'm getting some live streams here. And Dan, Dan was my guest speaker last week, and to you. And I couldn't agree with you more. Stress really sucks. It does suck. And I'm staying here from like adjacent to, you're right, Julie. Having some crisis come up unexpectedly causes me to become annoyed and upset. Couldn't agree with you more, Jason. And I think that's the nature in us. So it is very frightening. We don't like it to be what our reality is, but we got to deal with it. So here's some tips, and we're going to talk through this together. And here we go. So one thing we have to understand and recognize is that changes are always going to happen, whether we want them to or not. And, whether we're aware of them or not. Life is not static. It's not like this, like we would like it to be, right? Life is all over the place. It's part of nature, whether it's welcome or not. And in today's life, it's even more true. And it's getting more and more prevalent with every day that goes by. Life is changing in a way we have never seen before, and it's unprecedented. But it's inevitable and it's essential. So, we do have to understand that there is that internal resistance to change. We don't want it. It's instinctive. We don't want it. And do I dare say it's a challenge? I think I'm being kind in saying it's a challenge. And it does make me a nervous wreck. I don't know about you, but I am a total and complete nervous wreck anytime these things happen. And I personally have a hard time pulling it in. And the advice I'm going to give you, I don't want you to think that it's easy for me, because it's not. I struggle just like the rest of us do. But I'm going to give you these tips because I found that these are things that I am learning, and this is a learning process. These are things you need to teach yourself. It takes time. But the first thing you need to do is, when something comes into your face, analyze the situation. Analyze it. And the most important word at this point is one word: stop. Stop. You've just been hit in the face with something major, unintended, unexpected. Stop. Right then and there. Your emotions are going to try to get the best of you, but you got to stop right there. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and say, okay, here it is. And sometimes you need to work through those emotions very quickly because you don't have a choice. And unfortunately, that is true. But you've got to take control of those emotions and yourself. And you need to determine what in the situation can you control and what can't you control. Many life changes can be completely beyond our control, and we can do our best. We can do our best, right? And change is inevitable. It throws us off, not knowing. To try to control the situation, it is frightening and maddening. I couldn't agree more, Jason. It's totally crazy. And you have to realize, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But you have to remember, you have to concentrate on focus on what you can control. And focusing is very vital to handling these types of situations, because if you can't get yourself in the right frame of mind, if you cannot focus on the issue at hand and take all the emotion and all the drama out of it, you cannot control it. You need to do the best you can, bring it in, focus, go from there. And Dan, change does make me anxious too, because it requires us to do something. And we got to do it at the drop of a hat, right? And that's not normal, right? I really believe in the depths of my heart and soul, none of us are normal, right? None of us are normal in today's life. But there's a difference to not being normal and to handling the unnormal. Two totally different things. And you have to remember, during these times when you've got to step back, you've got to focus, be patient. And I know that's hard, but you need to be patient with yourself because you've got to totally reorient yourself, right? You've got to totally reorient on what needs to be done. You need to have that calm nature because you've got to make decisions that are not only in the best interest of what's happening right now, but what's in the best interest in the long run, and that is hard. And you need to be, and whether you like it or not, you have been forced to be an active participant in this moment. This was not your choice. It was not your moment to happen. But you've got to give yourself some times to not only get reoriented to what needs to be done, but you need to understand in this quick time, you need to adjust to these changes. Sometimes you don't just have that time. So you need to go through them very quickly. And I guess the best term I can come up with is a psychological metamorphosis. And it's totally not us. That's not what we're programmed to do. We're not, some people are really great at being drop of a hat. I can handle this, moment to moment. I am not one of them. I cannot speak for you, but I'm not one of them. I like my routine, but I have to say because of my job, I do have my moments and I struggle to do this process. Believe me, I do. So another thing that I've found is when you're given this unbelievable, huge challenge and it seems unsurmountable and you're freaking out. One thing I always say to go back to, and I've said this in other live streams as well, and in other parts of my life. Sometimes when you're told, just get through the day, you'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just get through one day at a time. Sometimes that one day just seems so unsurmountable and it does not help at all. Sometimes an hour seems you can't reach it. And sometimes 10 minutes, half an hour, doesn't matter. I have even had times in my life where 1 minute seems like I'm climbing the highest mountain in the world. The same with these types of circumstances. If you have to take a second at a time to remain that focus, to remain the calmness, to get control of your emotions, to make sure you're making the right decision, take a second at a time. And I promise you, the seconds turn into minutes. And then you realize, hey, I made it through a minute, making a little progress here. Take baby steps. You may not have a lot of time to make a decision, but that doesn't mean you can't break it down into simpler steps to make what happens and the outcome just as good as it could have been. And you're better off by breaking it down into pieces, doing it step by step, so that you can make the best decision moving forward rather than being an out of control, crazy person that is not going to help the situation and is not going to help anybody. And another thing about these circumstances is you're very welcome, Dan. Thank you for reminding me to be patient. You always forget patience. Hey, don't think I don't either. I'm not perfect here. I can be a patient person, but we all have our buttons and we all have our limits. So you know what? I'm there with you. We're in this together. One thing about these types of circumstances doesn't mean you're always going to come out with a big thumbs up. You did great. It was awesome. We are all have our faults. We all have our failures. And they're hard to deal with. But unfortunately, they're also a part of life as well. And I can tell you in the past, when in my job where I'm expected to make a miracle happen, and I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm a human being. I am who I am. I can't make miracles happen all the time. I can't always make the best thing happen for everybody involved. And I hate to use the V word, but I have been a victim of the ABUS asterisk word because of people who don't realize that we're all human beings, we all make mistakes, and we're not always successful in everything we do. That being said, if you have done everything in your power to resolve the situation, to keep it positive, to make it better, and to move on, if you fail, be kind to yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. And even more importantly, don't let others take it out on you. That's on them. That's not you. You know, you are not Superman or Superwoman or whoever you feel like they feel like you need to be. You're you. I'm me. I have not always been successful, and you won't either. Don't be hard on yourself, though. It's okay. One day goes to the next, life goes on, and you know what's going to happen? All of that's going to be forgotten when the next unexpected critical situation comes up. All of that's going to be forgotten anyway. You have to remember what's important in life. You're positive, you've done your best, and you've tried. And that's the best you can do. It's all any of us can do. And you always need to keep a strategy in your life. Don't make someone else's, what they feel like you should do. Keep your strategies. Keep your focus. Keep on the straight and narrow for who you are. When these circumstances come up, I can tell you right now, I don't care who you are. Not all of them are successful. And you're always going to have your critics. I have my critics now. I have tons of them because of my channel or because of what I say or because of what I do in my job. But don't forget, that's their opinion. That's not your opinion. You make a difference. And if it doesn't work out, you move on to the next. Because I promise you, you do make a difference in everything that you do. And I do too. It's just hard to remember that sometimes. And never, ever forget, stay in control of you. Stay in control of what you think, what you do, what you say. Don't let the drama queens of the world take control of you and your emotions and send them on a path that you do not need to go down. The situation is already critical enough. It's stressful enough. You don't need the drama kings and the drama queens of the world to put more on you that you don't need. You need to rely on you to do the best you can. Shut them out. Close the door if you have to. Walk away from them. Step back. Do whatever it is you have to do to keep your focus, keep your calmness, and keep on track of what your strategy is and what it's come to. And that being said, do not let those types of people allow you to make decisions based on fear, because they will put the fear of hate and they will be degrading, because if you can't do this, then you know what, you're a nobody. I could do better. Well, you know what? No. Don't let them bring you down in a situation that you know you can do. You know you can do it. And like I said, I believe in myself. And I've failed. But I've also moved on. Don't let fear grip you. Do not make decisions based on being reactive because of someone else's emotions. Stay focused. And you're right, Jason. Positivity is the key. You're right, we're unique. All of us are who we are. We need to be kind to ourselves and be kind to others too. But you got to be kind to yourself, and I've had these conversations with people, when you're in a situation like this, you have a tendency, I'm my own worst enemy, and I fully admit it. I come down harder on myself for everything. In everything I do more than anybody else ever could do, especially in situations like this. Of course, I felt like a failure, but you know what? If I know I've done my best and I have people that support me and that care about me and love me, that's where you are too. Don't let these other people who are very unhappy in their own lives, especially in situations like this, drag you down. And you are very welcome, Dan. You have been an inspiration to me, and I cannot thank you enough. I love you very much. So what do we do in these situations? You find your support. Everybody has a support out there. When I'm at work or I'm at home and I'm in these situations, I have got the most wonderful support on the face of the earth. Turn to them. Listen to them. Let them support you. Lean on their shoulder. I've been there for them. They're there for me. That's what it's all about. We've got to do this together, right? That's what this is all about on this channel. And seek some familiar comforts. Ground yourself. You do have self-worth. No matter what happens in these situations, you are important. You do make a difference. Verbalize what you're feeling. Verbalize to somebody, anybody, and manage that stress. And it's about all these things we've talked about. Say the word stop. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Don't listen to the drama, people. Focus on the situation. Take small steps. You may have to do them quickly. Make a strategy. One by one by one. Look to that long goal, but take those steps to get there. And to get ready for situations like this that are going to come up. It's ultimately going to happen to all of us, one way or another. Being prepared is the main thing. And a part of that is education. All these steps that we've talked about today, practice them. If something happens, practice these steps. Go through, okay, if this happens, what do I do? Okay, you have the initial reaction. Okay, stop. What do we do from here? Get that strategy, get that mindset, get it up there. You're in a routine. Seek that support. Take care of yourself. That's a big one. And ultimately, as I've always said on this channel, if you ever feel like the things of life are overstressing you, especially situations like this, you may have a couple of them come up within a very short period of time. And sometimes all of these steps just may not seem to be enough. I encourage you more than you know. Seek therapy, seek help. There are those out there who can help you see things clearly, see things differently, and are there to support you through good times and bad times. And with that being said, I would ask you all that if you continue to like my live streams, and I'm hoping you are getting something out of them positive, and I hope I am sincerely helping you to maybe get through your life a little bit easier and giving you some tips from what I've gone through to let you know that you're not alone. You don't need to be lonely. I support you. I'm here for you. And I would love if you would subscribe to my channel, and please give me that thumbs up below, because that will help you get the notifications of when I am going live. And in ending today, I will say what we always say. We can do this. We got this. I can and I will. We're in this together. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for chiming in. Take care. Have a great rest of the weekend and a great week next week. So until I see you next time, bye-bye.